What if Anthony Davis's Kentucky Wildcats played Zion in the 2019 Duke Blue Devils? Or we got to see Kemba Walker and UConn go up against Jimmer Fredette's BYU. On a quest to find the greatest college basketball team of the modern era, I have set up a 64-team March Madness-style tournament. I will be simulating every matchup using NBA 2K in addition to historical basketball simulation software in order to crown the greatest college basketball team of all time. So without further ado, let's reveal the field. Diving into the West region, the tournament's number one overall seed, the 1991-92 Duke Blue Devils, one of three teams to make this tournament field that won back-to-back championships, compiling a 12-0 tournament record over that two-year stretch. Coach K's team, featuring Christian Laettner, Grant Hill, and Bobby Hurley, get the tournament's number one overall seed as one of the best teams in college basketball history. And they will face the 2017-2018 Michigan State Spartans, led by Miles Bridges and Cassius Winston, included role players Jaren Jackson Jr. and Xavier Tillman off the bench. At the 8th seed, it is the 1994-95 champion UCLA Bruins, led by Charles and Ed O'Bannon. And they will match up against Ochai Agbaji, Christian Braun, and the 21-22 Kansas Jayhawk title team. Moving on to the 5 seed, the 2001-2002 NCAA champs, the Maryland Terrapins, coming off a Final Four loss the previous year. Juan Dixon, Chris Wilcox, Lonnie Baxter, and Steve Blake were able to capture the first and only title in Maryland school history. And the Terrapins will face the 2003-2004 Duke team, led by Laker head coach J.J. Redick, which unintentionally leads to a recreation of this moment.
60, but then a turnover and two missed shots, and then the two fouls against Redick.
In the 4 seed, which some may argue is a bit too low with their 3-year dominance, is the 2017-18 NCAA champion Villanova Wildcats, whose roster featured 7 future NBA players, including current Knicks duo Mikal Bridges and Jalen Brunson. And they will face the 2003-2004 Marquette Golden Eagles, led to a Final Four that season by 13-time NBA All-Star and Hall of Famer Dwayne Wade. On to the 6-11 matchup, a clash of runner-ups. First, the 6th seed, the 06-07 Ohio State Buckeyes, headlined by first overall pick Greg Oden, alongside a supporting cast of Mike Conley, Daquan Cook, and of course Mark Titus off the bench. And they will match up with Kemba Walker and the 2011 UConn Huskies national championship team that included Shabazz Napier and Jeremy Lamb as well. At the 3 seed, possibly the most talented college basketball roster ever assembled in the 2014-15 Kentucky Wildcats, featuring 9 future NBA players, including Karl Anthony Towns and Devin Booker. And they will face an ACL-less DeJuan Blair, Sam Young, and the 08-09 Pittsburgh Panthers. Finally, filling out the region at the 7 seed, probably the greatest recruiting class of all time, the 2018-19 Duke Blue Devils, a roster that included RJ Barrett, Zion Williamson, Trey Jones, and Cam Reddish. And Duke's first matchup will be the 1997 NCAA champ Arizona Wildcats, with a backcourt made up of Mike Bibby and Jason Terry. Rounding out the region, in at the 2 seed, it's Rick Pitino's 95-96 Kentucky Wildcats, made up of 9 future NBA players that won it all in the 96 NCAA tournament. And they will face a team that can be described with one word.
Jimmer. Long range.
Are you kidding me?
A quarter of the way through the bracket, here's a quick look at how the 64-team field was determined. First, no team before the 1990-91 season, so unfortunately won't be able to see Michael Jordan and North Carolina or Kareem's UCLA team. All NCAA tournament champion teams were auto bids, except for in the case of back-to-back champions such as the Florida Gators team or teams with similar rosters such as Villanova during their 3-year run. And finally, teams seeded based off of overall success in the regular and postseason, as well as a heavy emphasis on overall NBA talent. With that in mind, let's get back to the rest of the bracket reveal. On to the South region, the 2006-2007 Florida Gators get the number 1 seed, the first team to win back-to-back national titles with the same starting lineup, and that lineup composed of 6 future NBA players, including Al Horford and Joakim Noah. And the Gators will face Victor Oladipo, Cody Zeller, and the 16-seeded 12-13 Indiana Hoosiers. At the 8th seed, we have the 2019 NCAA champion Virginia Cavaliers featuring DeAndre Hunter, Ty Jerome, and Kyle Guy, known for completing a full turnaround after becoming the first 1 seed to lose to a 16 seed, and then of course winning the national title the next season.
And Virginia with the all-time turnaround title.
They will match up against a Marcus Camby-led, John Calipari-coached 1995-96 UMass team, who put together one of the best regular seasons in NCAA history, entering the tournament with a 31-1 record before falling to eventual champion Kentucky in the Final Four. To the 5 seed, we have Corliss Williamson and the 93-94 Arkansas Razorbacks, who will match up against the 2016-17 national champion, the North Carolina Tar Heels, known for avenging their buzzer beater loss the year before to Villanova.
It's going to fall for North Carolina. They're not going to be denied this time.
At the 4 seed, another one of the all-time great Coach K Duke's teams, and my least favorite team of all time, the 2014-15 Blue Devils, which featured 8 different future NBA players, including 3rd overall pick Jahlil Okafor, Tyus Jones, and this guy. They will match up with the national runner-up 2017-18 Michigan Wolverines, led by Mo Wagner, and included Duncan Robinson and Jordan Poole. Moving down to the 6th seed, it is the 2013 NCAA champion Louisville Cardinals, a team that included Russ Smith, Peyton Siva, Luke Hancock, Gorgie Dang, and Montrezl Harrell. And their first round game will be against the Morris Twins and the 2010-11 Kansas Jayhawks. In at the 3 seed, it's the 98-99 Blue Devils that finished 37-2 after coming up just short of a national championship, a team centered around first overall pick and Naismith winner Elton Brand. They will play Gilbert Arenas, Richard Jefferson, and the 2000-2001 Arizona Wildcats. At the 7th seed, the 93 North Carolina title team, headlined by Eric Montross and George Lynch. And the Tar Heels' first round draw will be the 14-15 Wisconsin Badgers, Frank Kaminsky, Sam Decker, most notably taking down undefeated Kentucky before falling short of a national title against Duke. Rounding out the South region, in at the 2, the 90-91 UNLV Runnin' Rebels, a star-filled squad centered around first overall pick Larry Johnson. The Runnin' Rebels, who coming off a title the previous season, came up just short of perfection after Duke ended their perfect season in the Final Four. And for their first game, they will be up against LaMarcus Aldridge, PJ Tucker, Daniel Gibson, and the 05-06 Texas Longhorns. That rounds out the left side of the bracket. Still 32 teams to go. If you're enjoying the video so far, feel free to drop a like and let me know down in the comment section who you think is the greatest college basketball team of all time. On to the East region. Dan Hurley's back-to-back champion UConn Huskies get the 1 seed. The 23-24 roster featuring Stephon Castle, Tristan Newton, Donovan Clegan, and Cam Spencer will have the 1 seed over in the East. A tough first-round matchup for the Huskies. They will face Stephen Curry and the 2007-2008 Davidson Wildcats. Curry leading his team to an Elite Eight that season and putting on an NCAA tournament performance so great that even LeBron knew he'd be a superstar.
I said he was probably going to score 70 tonight.
And at the 8 seed, it is 2010-11 Duke with Kyrie Irving. That roster selected over current Duke head coach Jon Scheyer's team, who won the championship the previous season, in order to give Irving a second chance at March Madness after dealing with injuries throughout the 2010-11 season. Irving and the Blue Devils will face Kevin Love, Russell Westbrook, and the 2007-2008 UCLA Bruins, a roster that featured 2 of the top 5 draft picks in Love and Westbrook, as well as Darren Collison. Moving on down to the 5 seed, it will be Carmelo Anthony's 2003 Syracuse Orange title team, and they will match up with the 2021 runner-up Gonzaga Bulldogs, known for giving us one of March Madness's all-time great moments, as Jalen Suggs hit the game winner to send the Bulldogs to the title.
Got it back, ties it with 3. Gonzaga has time to do something. Suggs for the win. Oh, yes!
And at the 4 seed, the 2008 National Championship Kansas Jayhawk team, known for another all-time great March Madness moment, as Mario Chalmers hit the game-tying 3 to force overtime on the way to Kansas's title victory. The Jayhawks will face the 13-14 Wichita State Shockers, a 35-1 record, and a team that included Ron Baker, Fred VanVleet, and Cleanthony Early. And at the 6th seed, it's Tom Izzo's 2000 title team, composed of Morris Peterson, Charlie Bell, Mateen Cleaves, and Jason Richardson. And they will draw the St. Joseph Hawks, led by duo Jameer Nelson and Delonte West. Getting the 3 seed, it's Tyler Hansborough and the 2009 UNC title team, a roster that included Ty Lawson, Wayne Ellington, and Danny Green. And their first matchup will be against the 14-seeded Gonzaga Bulldogs, the 2016-17, many consider to be Mark Few's greatest team of all time. On to the 7-10 matchup, a battle of Big Ten NCAA runner-ups. First, the 04-05 Fighting Illini, Deron Williams, Luther Head, and D. Brown, 37-2, but falling just short in the title game, and they will match up with the 2012-13 Michigan Wolverines runner-up team, led by Tim Hardaway Jr. and Trey Burke. And at the 2 seed, it will be Richard Hamilton and the 1999 national champion UConn Huskies. Hamilton and the Huskies will be up against the 13-14 Wildcats, Nick Johnson, Aaron Gordon, TJ McConnell, and Rondé Hollis Jefferson. Now only 16 teams remain. Once again, we will be simulating the round of 64 in the next video using both NBA 2K and a simulation software, so stay tuned for that. Now let's reveal the final region. And getting the final number 1 overall seed, it will be the 2011-12 Kentucky Wildcats, John Calipari's squad, compiling a 38-2 record en route to a national championship and featured 2 of the top NBA draft picks that year, Anthony Davis going first and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist second overall in that year's NBA draft. They will face the 16-seeded Wake Forest Demon Deacons, Tim Duncan with second chance in March Madness after an early exit during the 1995 season. Down to the 8th seed, it's Paul Pierce and the 97 Jayhawks, a roster that also was composed of Scott Pollard and Rafe LaFrentz. And they will match up with Kenyon Martin and the 99-2000 Cincinnati Bearcats, a fair shot at the tournament for the Bearcats after Martin suffered a season-ending injury just before the tournament started in 2000. Taking a look at the 5 seed, it's the 2005 NCAA champ North Carolina Tar Heels, a lineup composed of Sean May, Rashad McCants, Jawad Williams, Raymond Felton, and Marvin Williams. And they will match up with the Butler Bulldogs, led by Gordon Hayward, and included Shelvin Mack and Matt Howard, that came this close to a national championship.
Half-court heave for 3. It's off the rim.
Continuing on to the 4 seed, it's the 2004 NCAA champ UConn Huskies, Emeka Okafor, Ben Gordon, and Charlie Villanueva, all key contributors on that team. And they will be up against the 16-17 Kentucky Wildcats, Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox, Bam Adebayo, and Isaiah Briscoe. Over to the 6th seed, it's Derrick Rose, Chris Douglas Roberts, and the 2008 runner-up Memphis Tigers. Their first game will be against Antoine Jamison, Vince Carter, and the 97-98 North Carolina Tar Heels. Getting the 3 seed, it's the 2-time NCAA runner-up Fab 5 team, which included Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Juwan Howard, Jimmy King, Ray Jackson, and Rob Pelinka. And they will be up against Dylan Brooks, Chris Boucher, and the 16-17 Oregon Ducks. Down to the 7th seed, it's the 2021 champion Baylor Bears, headlined by backcourt duo Jared Butler and Davion Mitchell. And their first round matchup will be against the 2009-10 Kentucky Wildcats. Some names from that roster include John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Bledsoe, and Patrick Patterson. And finally, another all-time Duke team in at the 2 seed, the 2000-2001 Blue Devils, a roster which featured Boozer, Dunleavy, Jay Williams, and Shane Battier. And they will face Jeff Green, Roy Hibbert, and the Georgetown Hoyas. That wraps up the field reveal. Here's a full look at the entire bracket. Once again, all games will be simulated and visuals included, courtesy of NBA 2K. With that, thank you for tuning in. We will see you next for the round of 64.